Good morning, and happy Labor Day weekend to you all. We are remembering all of the folks who are still at Spirit Fest. We wish them a safe journey back and a meaningful closing ceremony, and I'm so glad all of you are here. Whether you are here in person or watching at home, it's good to be with you this morning. It's good for us to all be together. As we gather this morning, let me share with you words from Megan Visser. We enter this sanctuary for kindness and comfort. May rough, worn hands and aching backs be healed. We enter this sanctuary of hope for equality. May those who labor to survive live to know justice. We enter this sanctuary of love and vocation. May our bonds of solidarity be strengthened. We enter this sanctuary of courage and friendship. May we proceed hand in hand towards freedom. Come, my friends, with our hearts open to both the challenges and the possibilities that this new day and this new week bring. With our hearts open to all that inspires, sustains, redeems, and transforms us. Come, let us worship together.
So we're going to do, is this working?
No, doesn't sound like it.
We're going to do a song called, no? Okay. Shall we use this? Okay. Let's bring this over. We're resourceful people. We're Unitarians. So we're going to do a song called Union Made. This is based on a song called Red Wing, which was a very popular song in the turn of the last century, like the beginning of the 1900s. And when Woody Guthrie was asked in the 1940s to write a Union song from a woman's point of view, he used that tune because it was a really popular tune. Everybody knew that tune. It was kind of like Oh Susanna, you know, everybody knew it already. So he wrote Union Made in 1940, and then Joe Glazier, who was a labor historian, wrote new words for it in the 1980s. So the first half of the song, we will do Woody Guthrie's lyrics, and the second half we'll do Joe Glazier's lyrics. So here it is, Union Made.
Tricks of company spies. She couldn't be fooled by a company stool. She'd always organize the guys. She always got her way. When she struck for better pay, she'd show her card to the National Guard, and this is what she'd say: "Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die."
not see your enemy, the class that lives in luxury? You working men are poor, will be forevermore, as long as you permit the few to guide your destiny. Shall we still be slaves and work for wages? It is outrageous, has been for ages. This earth by right belongs to toilers and not to spoilers of liberty.
Oh, the master class is small, but they have lots of gall. When we unite to gain our rights, if they resist, we'll use our might. There is a middle ground. This fight must be one round to victory. For liberty, our class is marching on. So we still
Be slaves and work for wages. It is outrageous, has been for ages. This earth by right belongs to toilers and not to spoilers of liberty. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die.
I'm the tech boy now.
Oh, yeah, you did a great job.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the liberal religious tradition to which this congregation belongs. Will those of you in person please stand as you are able for the lighting of our chalice? And if you have a chalice at home, I invite you to light yours with us now. As we kindle this flame, we recommit ourselves to nurturing the spirits of one another and the common good of the world we share. May the light of this flame be welcoming to all who seek a liberal religious home. And for those of you already standing, I invite you to remain standing for our opening hymn, number 157, Step by Step.
Okay.
name is Sarah Ford-Knorr, and I'm pleased to be part of your worship team this morning. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a long-time member, I'd like to offer you a special welcome. Here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Raleigh, we are intentionally inclusive, liberally religious, and actively serving the common good of our shared world. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your own religious journey, you are welcome here. This morning, Bill Devereaux, one of our lay ministers, will be available in the front right corner of the sanctuary after the service to talk to anyone who might be having a difficult time and would just like to talk to a friend. I hope all of you will read through the chalice you received by email on Friday about everything happening here at UUFR. You can also check out the upcoming events section of the website. Of particular note, today marks the end of the summer service schedule here at UUFR. Next Sunday, September 7th, we will return to having 2 services. The first one starts at 9:30 a.m., and the second one starts at 11:15. Next week's service will also be our in-gathering service, so if you collected some special water over the summer in one of your activities or trips, don't forget to bring it next Sunday for our water communion. Also, we will be holding the first Saturday social of the new UUFR program year on Saturday, September 13th, and you'll find additional details about that in this week's edition of the Chalice. Our in-person social hour will be downstairs this morning in Founders Hall, and I now invite you to meet and greet your neighbor. Good morning.
I invite you to come back together as we continue our service. Thank you. I know there's a lot to catch up on. It's great that we're conversing, catching up. Now is the time in our service when we acknowledge some of the joys and some of the sorrows of our community. We do this because we believe a joy shared is a joy made greater, and a sorrow shared is made easier to bear. Nick shares that they were in MSP during the recent events, and they experienced a lot of emotional labor. Let us keep them in our hearts. Karen Madison shares wishes for health and healing for Loretta Merchon, former UUFR member, following serious complications from COVID. Alex H. shares a joy that their dog is recovering from surgery and the tumor was benign and recovery is going well. And a sorrow is picking up a 5 a.m. bus. That's kind of early. And Maureen Roth, her good friend Mary, has been recently diagnosed with an aggressive brain tumor. Mary is struggling as she undergoes treatment. Let us keep Mary and her family and her friends in our hearts. As we hold these shared joys and sorrows in our hearts and reflect on the joys and sorrows, fears and hopes of our own lives, let's be together in stillness and in silence, opening ourselves to that spirit within us and amidst us, known to every human heart, that leads us to a fuller and deeper and richer experience of life. After the silence, we'll sing together hymn 95, There is More Love, but for now, let's be together in stillness and in silence.
As a member of your board of directors, I will be downstairs during the social hour. If you have any questions or concerns you'd like to share, would just like to say hi. The congregation, as you know, is now beginning the process to search for a new lead minister. And the lead minister search committee asks everyone, whether you are a longtime member or even a recent visitor, to fill out the congregational survey and to sign up for one of our small group search circles. Links for both of these are in the chalice or on the front page of our website at uufr.org. And we want to thank you for the 143 surveys that have been filled out so far. That is good. The deadline is September 8th, but don't wait, get them in. Everything we do at UUFR is only possible because of the generous financial support that so many of us provide. For those of you who have set up automated giving or who send a check to the office every month, I'd like to thank you now for your generosity. If you'd like to make a contribution in person this morning, you can bring it forward and put it in one of our 3 offering plates. If you'd prefer to have an usher come to you, just raise your hand. And of course, you can also give using any of the methods on the screen. Our offering will now be taken and gratefully received. Thank you. Our reading today is a poem called Labor Day, written by Krishnanand Guptar. The poem refers to Labor Day on May 1, which is when it's celebrated in the author's home country of Mauritius. On Labor Day, the 1st of May, let us pay homage to great souls who by dint of their precious say, by dint of their decisive role in the struggle for workers' rights, did not pay heed to their own plight. Let us cherish the daring roars of pioneers, whether stationed at home or on distant shores, who improved working conditions, brought rays of hope in workers' life, and some light in their daily strife. Let us pay tribute to heroes who on the place of work were shot, or on the road were dealt blows, and for life sustained heavy blots, for fair protests lodged in tandem on the pittance dashed out to them. On Labor Day and every day, let us greet the dignity of labor, reflect on struggles on the way across centuries to favor a just, fair, and sound relation in process of wealth creation. On Labor Day and every day, let us honor those who do strive in bitter cold and have no say, those who toil with their heart alive as those with white collars and pen who mold the destiny of men. On Labor Day and every day, let's pay respect to all workers, whether toiling in central mills, whether wielding weighty hammers, or sweating in the sun in fields, whether the tasks are big or small, the same dignity have they all.
We're going to do a contemporary song by Billy Bragg, and there's a word in this song called blackleg, and that refers to a scab or an anti-union mischief maker. So this is Power in a Union.
is power in the factory, power in the land, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we won't stand. There is power in a union.
Now the lessons of the past we all will learn with workers' blood. Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full of mud. War has always been the boss's way. The union forever defending our rights. Down with the black flag, the workers unite. Our brothers and our sisters from many far off lands. There is power in the union.
Now I long for the morning that they realize unjust laws and brutality can't defeat us. But who'll defend the workers who cannot organize when the bosses send their lackeys out to cheat us?
Money speaks for money, the devil for his own. Who comes to speak for the spin and the bone? Or come back to the widow, a life of new child. There is power in the union. The union forever defending our rights. Down with the black flag, the workers unite. The brothers and our sisters from many far off lands. There is power in a union. To the brothers and our sisters from many far off lands. There is power in a union.
Thank you so much, musicians. That was great. Let's give them another hand. It was July 1881 in Atlanta, Georgia, 16 years after the end of the American Civil War. Atlanta had spent time, money, and labor rebuilding the city since the end of the war, and the city was poised to announce itself officially open for business by hosting the International Cotton Exposition that fall. Less than a generation after the legalized enslavement of black people had ended, white people in the South were not used to paying black people for their labor. At the time, a majority of the wage earners in the city were black women, and a vast majority of these women were household workers. One of the first tasks that white households outsourced was laundry. At that time, with no washing machines, of course, and primitive water and sewer systems, laundry was a difficult task. So who did the majority of the laundry? Black women. Black women who in their own homes made soap from lye and fat, made starch from wheat, carried buckets from the local well and heated the water and toiled over open barrels of hot laundry, scrubbed and wrung out the wet clothes and then line dried them and spent entire days ironing. In addition to their own household tasks, and all of this for, $4 to $8 a month. In June of 1881, 20 black laundresses, for that was what they were called back then, they gathered together and they created a trade union, the Washing Society. These women wanted higher wages, they wanted respect, and they wanted autonomy over their work. With the support of black ministers and churches,
They set a price of $1 per pound of laundry and went on strike. Instead of doing laundry, they went door to door, talking to people in their neighborhoods, recruiting other laundresses to join their strike. Within 3 weeks, their ranks had grown to 3,000 women, which included some white women, and that kind of interracial collaboration was unheard of at the time. Businessmen were outraged, and they put pressure on the city government to do something about these women who refused to do their laundry. So close to the exposition, too. The city responded by arresting and fining the union leaders, and they imposed a $25 license fee, an amount that was several months' worth of wages. In a letter to the mayor, the women said, "We mean business or no washing," and agreed to pay the fees in exchange for control over their livelihoods. Their success inspired other domestic workers who, thanks to the brave women of the Washing Society, no longer felt invisible and powerless. There are several lessons we can take from the success of the Washing Society. The women acted together, not alone. Collective action is what trade unions are all about. We can accomplish together so much more than we can individually. The women went door to door in their neighborhoods to listen to the needs of their community, to build relationships, to bring in new members and supporters, even those who were white. The women got support from the Black churches and ministers in their community, finding respected voices and resources to help support their action made it more likely that they would succeed. They took a calculated risk. When the women gathered and decided on speaking out, they knew that they would face resistance and potential consequences. When these consequences were realized, they didn't give up on their goal, and they had support of their community to help those who faced the resistance. And the women were realistic. Ideally, the union would have been able to set a realistic price for their product without paying a high fee to the city. But they realized that in that moment, reaching their goal of autonomy was worth paying the fee. September 5th, 1882, a year after the end of the Black washerwomen's strike, tradespeople and trade union members of New York City took a day without pay and held the first documented Labor Day parade in the United States. This event, which ended with picnics and speeches and fireworks, celebrated the American trade worker and highlighted the need for higher wages and better working conditions. It wasn't unusual at the time for workers, including children, to work over 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, in crowded and unventilated environments. Just like the Black washerwomen's strike, this event also made the behind-the-scenes workers more visible and formidable. In 1894, President Cleveland made the first Monday of September a national holiday as a conciliatory gesture after workers manufacturing rail cars in the Pullman Palace Car Company in Chicago went on strike to protest 16-hour days and low wages. The American Railway Union joined the strike, which shut down rail traffic across the country. The federal government was not happy. So federal troops were sent in to break the strike, and dozens of people were killed when National Guard troops shot their guns into the people in the ensuing riot. At some point along the arc of European history, there grew this large disparity between those who owned
and managed farms and workplaces, and those who worked on farms and in workplaces. By the 7th century, the feudal system developed, creating a hierarchy between the lord who ruled over an area of land and the lord's subjects. At the bottom of the hierarchy were the people who got their hands dirty, the farmers, the cleaners, those who tended the livestock. The Lord provided protection. The Lord accumulated wealth and power. The lowly serf was lucky to get a full belly. Once industrialization arrived in the 17th and 18th centuries, lords were replaced with business owners. Serfs were replaced with factory workers. And then in the Americas rose legalized enslavement of African and indigenous peoples. After the American Civil War, many of the newly freed African American people became sharecroppers, domestic workers, or worked for tips, a solution that absolved business owners from paying African American restaurant and hotel workers and passed the responsibility to pay them on to the customers. Child labor was also prevalent and socially acceptable at the time, sometimes even unpaid. Into this newly industrialized and post-American Civil War landscape developed the labor union. For there are two ways to affect change. One is through organized people, the other through organized money. Many people are more powerful than just one person. Many dollars are more powerful than $1. When influencing business and political interests who have power, the best way to do so is to gather lots of people who want the same thing. This is the main tactic of a labor union. Organized people, many people, demanding the same thing from their employers, demanding higher wages or shorter hours, better health insurance, safer working conditions. When their demands aren't taken seriously, members can threaten to strike, to not work. This is how a labor union flexes its economic power. Organized money, or of course, in this case, its lack of organized money. The workers refuse to work, then profits drop for the business owners and stockholders. Customers put pressure on their business owners when they don't get their products. Labor organizing on going on strike is not without risk for the union member. Those representing unions within a company have been fired or faced even harsher retribution. When a worker goes on strike, they don't get paid and risk losing their jobs that affect the well-being of their families. In rare circumstances, such as during the Pullman strike, people have unfortunately lost their lives. Despite all of the risks and consequences faced by labor unions over the years, we have labor unions to thank for the normalization of 8-hour days, of having Labor Day off to spend time with family and friends. We have labor unions to thank for things like health insurance, paid holidays, and vacation time, and for retirement savings accounts. It's thanks to labor unions that we have worker safety regulations. Compared to a century ago, many workers are better off thanks to the work and the risks of labor union members. And yet, there are still workers who don't have paid time off or health insurance, or who routinely work longer than 8-hour days. Many people work multiple jobs or are part of the gig economy, finding work in short spurts by driving for Uber or doing piecework. And even today, people die on the job because they are not adequately protected in adverse working conditions, particularly as the effects of climate change become more pronounced. Today, North Carolina and other states in the South fall at the bottom when states are ranked by how worker-friendly their states are. North Carolina's minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, the same as the federal minimum wage. This is 18.1% of the cost of living for a family of 4. North Carolina has among the lowest union membership rates due to anti-union laws on the state books. Lacks child labor regulations and lacks worker safety and benefit regulations are also hallmarks of the legal landscape for workers in North Carolina. Clearly, there is room for improvement. As we're enjoying cookouts and time with family and friends tomorrow, I invite you to remember some of the bravery and sacrifices and marching and late night heated negotiations that led to many of us having a day off. Remember people like those 20 black washerwomen. For those of you inspired to take to the streets tomorrow, find a hashtag Workers Over Billionaires event. That's hashtag Workers Over Billionaires. Find such an event in your community and lend your voice to the voices of others, speaking up for greater justice for workers. Read an article about someone facing working conditions different than yours. Keep your heart open to opportunities to build relationships and collective power, like One Wake. Our UU values call us to work towards justice and equity. Building collective power is one way to put these values into action. Thank you, labor unions. Thank you to those who labor, and a happy Labor Day to all. Amen. I invite you to stand in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, which this morning is hymn number 1017, Building a New Way.
Yes, sir. You want to see the music?
Yep.
Stronger every day.
As we end this time of worship together, I would like to share words from Dorothy Day. People say, "What is the sense of our small effort?" They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has the right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. Amen.